Only when the tide goes out do we discover who's been swimming naked. The well-known Warren Buffett quote. When everything's running as usual, the economy is performing, businesses are prosperous and happy, things are great. In these times, it can be difficult to determine which businesses are ready and able to sustain themselves through more challenging times. So when a stress test like what we are all facing this year comes along, the businesses who were not prepared to survive such a stress test are the ones without a swimming costume. The ability to adapt and carve out space for your business to continue throughout this time is proving absolutely key to surviving, let alone having any hope of thriving. So how do you ensure that your business survives? In short, you change your focus. Welcome to Summit Scale, where owner-managers come to learn how to grow their small businesses into successful companies. 4 months ago, business owners were thinking about strategic plans, business plans, long-term marketing plans, based on an outlook where the world was in a relatively stable, buoyant time. Owners had no real reason to expect that business was going to be anything but good for the remainder of the year. Then came the pandemic, where business owners had to suddenly shift from focusing on big picture strategies to short-term tactics. And the most important tactic is quite simple: to survive. What do you need in order to survive? Cash. But how often do you go about your day thinking about the oxygen that you breathe? Probably not very often, if ever. The same is true for cash. Cash isn't something that many people think about on a daily basis until they really need it. Of course, part of being a good business owner is having a handle on your cash flow and knowing what you have to work with. But it's not a constant nagging thought until you don't have enough. And I'm not talking about profitability. You can have a business that has a fine profit and loss statement, but you may not have cash on hand. So here are some things to keep in mind when you're trying to become more cash positive. How can you send out and collect invoices more efficiently? Are there any suppliers, partners, or vendors that you can begin to slow pay? What expenses can you cut? Think about things like staff parties, bonuses, overtime pay, etc. And before you invest in anything, really think about the return on investment that you can expect to get. Now, we've all heard the phrase, necessity is the mother of invention, and it rings true for businesses now more than ever. For a business to survive an economic crisis like the one we are facing today, it needs to be able to find a space into which it can pivot. As a business owner, you need to be innovative in reading the marketplace, assessing what is needed, and finding a way to adapt your business to suit those new needs. As a business coach, I see this firsthand as many of my clients over the last 3 months have faced serious challenges when it comes to keeping their doors open. Some have been able to make simple adjustments, such as shifting from in-person meetings to now being fully online, while others have had to make major changes to their products and services they offer. For example, a client that owns a printing company pivoted from printing mostly marketing materials for other businesses to now making face masks for distribution. Thanks to a nearly unlimited demand for face masks and their quick action, they did what they needed to do in order to stay afloat. On the other hand, there are businesses that were already positioned fairly well for the new market demands. Take another client who makes organic soaps. They have been able to swiftly channel resources to ramp up production of organic hand sanitizers and had their best 3 months ever. Now, new normal has become the buzzword of the year, it seems, but it describes so well what we are all adapting to, so it continues to be relevant. Life and business are not returning to how they were pre-pandemic. We see this already happening with companies doing away with brick and mortar offices in favour of remote teamwork, with restaurants and gyms installing new personal hygiene equipment and safety policies that are likely to stay. People and businesses have found a way to, and will continue to, adapt their mindset and their activities to fit into this new normal. 6 months ago, many business owners would never have thought their business would be able to run with remote staff, with different product and service offerings, and without their regular consumer base. But the bottom line is that those businesses who are willing and able to reconfigure, rethink, and respond to the marketplace are the businesses that are going to survive. Check out our next live webinar at www.summitscalewebinar.com. They are proving to be an invaluable learning resource for SME business owners. I'm Shane Spears of Summit Scale. See you next time.